Nice. And we're live. All right. Welcome to the Uncommon Sense podcast. Happy holidays. Took a little bit of a hiatus to be with the family, during COVID. Today, I've got a very old friend, played football with him in college. I first met him rookie night when he did some amazing drawings of everybody and made fun of everybody in a way that everybody thought was hilarious. When I first met him, his English wasn't that great, but it's pretty awesome right now. Super artist, running his design firm, soon to be a daddy, Mr. C.R. Dube. What's up, buddy?
Hey man, I'm here. You caught me off guard with remembering that. I wasn't ready for that one. And yes, my English was really, really bad. It's not going to be that great either. Like I said before we start, because I don't have any other reason to speak English lately.
Oh, yeah.
But just a little correction. I don't own a firm anymore. I closed it because I sucked at being an entrepreneur. Now I'm full-time in an agency.
Okay.
But I still do graphic design, motion design, and a bunch of illustrations and shit. And I did make fun of a lot of people, and I could have been really bad on that night, but it was great.
That was good. Listen, to see a French kid go up there and do these drawings and be able to make fun of everybody with like limited English, and everyone was dying on the floor because, I think at that time we'd spent maybe like a month and a half in camp or something like that, and you had already picked up on like nuances and everybody's personality that fast and in a different language too. Was hilarious. You know what I mean?
So in my case, there were a few like people that stood out that were easy target.
So for sure.
It was funny, and I knew which one I could make fun of and which one I had to like respect in a certain way.
Yeah,
I remember just for the lack of dropping names, Sammy Okbro was in there, and I had to be polite. He was on my defense. He was my captain and everything. And the other people I could just point out and laugh. And I remember making fun of one of the coaches, Warren Craney, and he hated me so bad after.
Craney was I loved Craney because he was such a joker, but if the joke turned on him, you could see he got that kind of like little like he'd start getting real stern and real quiet, and then like he wouldn't talk to you for a little while. I remember I made a joke. We were doing 7-on-7s or something, and like I burnt somebody on something. I came back to him and I said something to him, and he just like for a week he did not talk to me. Like I'd be like, "What's up, coach?" He'd be like, "Mm-hmm." I'd be like, okay.
He took it personal, but I feel like there was a little percentage in there that it was part of an act.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, he was
for sure it was
like
for sure it was.
Figure, even though he wasn't really big, but he could go simmer down to a whole like class full of football players. We all shut up. He was kind of powerful.
Yeah, you know what? He was genuine in who he was. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody resonated to that, because I remember even like guys on offense, we all resonated to Craney just because we wanted to, he's just such a good dude. Like him, Coach Pete. I mean, even Coach Pete with being like, the old stickler and everything, you still respected everything that came out of that guy's mouth. Like everything that dude said was just like, you just wanted to listen to every single word. I think one of the proudest moments is when I cracked back on a linebacker against UAM, and he came over and grabbed me by the face mask, and he's like, "That's what I'm fucking talking about. I've been waiting years for you to hit someone like that." I'm like, "Okay, coach, thanks."
These guys were bullshit proof. You couldn't. I remember you weren't allowed to go, "Yeah, my bad." Of course it's your fucking bad. Who else? I pointed at you. I'm screaming at you. Who else? Like you couldn't even take and own your own mistake. Like the best way to do it was in pure silence, because anything you would say wouldn't make sense.
Shut the fuck up. Go back and just do it better next time. That's exactly what they would talk about.
There was a lot of learning from these guys that would very I can use on the everyday.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is really cool.
For sure. So for you. You started a podcast now. You're doing a gaming podcast, which I've watched a couple episodes, and even though it's in French and my French isn't fantastic, but like I still grasp very much what you're saying. It's really awesome because, like you said, you guys have like we were talking about before we started. You guys have like you got the feel, and then you got like the stats of like what's going on. So you guys are hitting it from both fronts. As like an avid gamer and someone who listens to like reviews on YouTube and all this kind of stuff and everything, I feel like the gaming culture is becoming, I don't want to say it's full on toxic. I don't want to say it's full on just like terrible, but it's I don't know the proper way to put it. It's just it's very catty.
Unbalanced, I feel.
It's very, I find it very catty. Like very catty. Like
could you describe, what does catty mean?
Catty's like it's very nitpickish. There's not like, you remember when games used to come out like when PC and like, do you remember Crysis? Did you ever play Crysis when it first came out?
Crysis was if I'm not mistaken, was like how relevant is your graphic? That's how you look at
graphic. It was the graphic card killer, right? Like Crysis was like one of those first games where this is going to challenge your system to see if it can actually do what we're trying to get it to do. And I remember I had a buddy who literally built a computer around just trying to run this game properly. And like we used to go over to his house, smoke weed, drink a bit, and play Crysis, like take turns playing Crysis, because it was literally the only computer we knew that could run Crysis properly.
Yeah, so, it's like this one guy had this temple.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and we'd all pack into this like little room with like food and drinks and stuff and everything, and just watch each other play Crysis because no one else could run it. Like you only saw it on like videos. Like you could never run it properly except for on his PC. But so like recently, one of the reasons I want to have so Cyberpunk just came out. We're both playing Cyberpunk. I love it. It's it's glitchy. Don't get me wrong. It's glitchy. Like it's buggy. Doors don't appear sometimes. Like yesterday I was playing and randomly ended up in the water for some reason. Like I was riding my motorcycle in the middle of the street. The screen went black, and then all of a sudden it reappeared, and I was in the water. And I was like, okay, sure. And then I swam back out of the water, got back up. I'm like, all right, well, let's just continue on with the mission. Don't know what the hell happened there, but it's fine. But I think because we grew up in the age where things not working at 100%, like the experimentation was part of the gaming culture. Can we run it? How well can we run it? What can we do? And I just don't think kids nowadays, I don't think guys or kids nowadays who are playing these games they don't understand that concept of taking that experiment and trying to go with it. You know what I mean? Being like, yo, let's develop this,
I feel like here's how I put it. First of all, do you play on PC or are you on PlayStation 5?
PS4.
PS4. Oh, you're playing on PS4 and you're enjoying it.
Well, I got Pro.
Okay.
The Pro's okay. Okay. Like it has some glitches. If you have a regular PS, like a regular PS4 or regular Xbox, forget about it. You can't run it. You can't do it.
Okay, so I'm playing on PC. Actually, I bought the PC for our podcast.
Right.
At the same time, I might as well put a little money in it.
Yeah, of course.
It's not a Lamborghini of a PC, but it's a decent machine. Yeah, I'd say it's close to a PS5, but I don't have an RTX 3090, and I can't have all the ray tracing on it.
Yeah,
but it runs pretty well.
Right.
And I'm happy. Like it's buggy, like you said. Like I have those little incidents are actually funny. They don't destroy the game for me. I still have the same love for the story. I'm into it.
For sure.
They don't break the tempo that much. Actually, most of them so far have been very funny. One of them was annoying because I get to read a lot because they speak a lot, and there's and there's subtext on the bottom. But they fixed it really quick. But to come back to your main idea, the new gamers never skipped a meal, and it fucking shows.
Yeah,
they never, like, it's as if, have you ever played Skyrim? How buggy it is. Like
I played it a little bit. I didn't get real into it, but I played it a bit. Yeah.
And what you said about the fact that some kids, where our generation has been like trying out and was part of. I remember receiving Qatar, which is Knight of the Old Republic, on PC. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm really young, and I tried to install it on our family computer. Couldn't work.
Right.
So I remember that owning a PC was a challenge in itself. You have just the way I run Cyberpunk. Like I have my NVIDIA drivers up to date daily. Yeah. I make sure everything's fine. I mean, you have to take care of your computer. It's not a console.
No.
And I feel like there's a lot of backlash that goes, like, I get why PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are angry. You know, they were
for sure.
Have a full-on game that was functioning, which is not. But people getting really angry over just over that, and me having a different experience. I mean, playing Cyberpunk has been really fun so far. I'm close to 30 hours in, and I have barely scratched the surface of what I can do. And I'm going to be honest. It's how do you say that in English? A tantrum? Like, I feel like the kids are just like, when they talk about lawsuit towards CD Red Project, I'm like, really, guys?
Well, they are. They filed the lawsuit. Yeah. They're actually going to sue them for the investors are going to sue them for putting out a game they feel wasn't ready. But the whole thing, but they pushed it to get open. Like, CD didn't even really want to release it yet, but they were pushing them. They were saying, like, it's not fully ready yet. Like, I think in my mind, at least looking at it, I think what they wanted to do was release it on the PS5 solely, and then the Xbox, the new Xbox. I think they wanted to do it that because I think they foresaw the problems that the old consoles were going to have. Because you could tell this game is built for a higher performance machine.
Absolutely. And they tried to make, like, the only thing I could point out towards CD Red Project is that they took a way too big of a chunk to deal with, because it's one of those rare games that had to come out on seven platforms, PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Xbox S, and Xbox X, and like the other one is S for Series. And these two machines are very different machine. Both can run it, but you'll have like little difference of frame loss
rate. And everything, and processing power.
Thing that the new generation gets really, 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 really crazy over. I mean, unless you're playing competitive online gaming, like dropping a few frames not going to kill the vibe of of Cyberpunk personally.
Yeah.
And I'm playing on a TV because I'm playing on my podcast rig, but
right.
It's not even a great TV. It's an old 42-inch and it's 1080p. I don't even got 4K. Like, it's not 4K on it. There's nothing special about this. It's actually a shitty monitor, to be honest. And I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
But then again, I feel you and I are from this generation of player who've played shitty games and were so thrilled about everything else than the graphic that we're able to let ourselves get into a game that way. And I feel like the new generation, like, if you were born with an Xbox 360 or a PlayStation 3, you don't know the struggle of an N64 or just the first PC that were out there trying to run games. My first game ever is Doom 93.
Exactly.
And
mine was a computer from my mom's work.
Yeah.
My mom brought home a computer from work because they were changing the computers, and I don't remember what it was, but it was like I remember it took forever to get Doom and Wolfenstein to run on that thing.
Yeah. We were, like you said, we were gathering around this thing and we were playing, and I feel like the fact that I'm sitting in front of a game that's so huge, like, sometimes I get a bit like depressive. I'm looking at Cyberpunk and the map, and like, Jesus, how am I going to handle this?
It's weird, right? My buddies were asking, because there's only, like, out of the guys I usually play with, there's only about, like, I think there's like 3 or 4 guys now who have it. And they're like, what is it like? I'm like, it's fucking immersive. I'm like, you feel like you're overloaded. Like, you have to, like, when you sit in there, you're like, when you're in that game, you literally are like, you feel like you've been dropped into the world, and it's like, now there's just, like, you don't know where to turn because there's so much shit you can do. And you're just like, I'm almost at some points like, I wish this game was just a little bit more linear to where you could kind of navigate how much stuff and where you're supposed to go, because I'm caught, like, you're constantly getting calls. You're constantly, like, passing by things that you could intervene on. You could stop someone getting beat up. You can, go talk to a hooker. You can do whatever, like, all the different things in the game that you could possibly, you could steal a car. You could not steal a car. You could, take a job. Like, there's just so many things going on back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, that I think the main storyline kind of gets lost a little bit in all the side quests. Still fun as fuck, still great. It's like a evolved version of a Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah,
like it's like a super evolved version of that, which I know people. The only thing I'm hoping for is that somehow they turn this thing into a multiplayer, like, because if you can get that multiplayer aspect, that's going to change this whole avenue of how things happen in this game.
Absolutely. If you look at like other games that are, I'm not saying, I'm going to say similar, because they're sandbox and they're a huge world. Red Dead Redemption 2,
Red Dead,
GTA. Usually the campaign comes out first, and then a year, maybe a year and a half later, you get the multiplayer. Right now, Cyberpunk is not in a position to release any multiplayer.
No.
Now they need to fix the game, which they are doing like nonstop. Which you gotta give it to CD Red Project. They're an amazing studio, and even though they might have dropped the ball on a certain point, and now they're getting a lawsuit because of it, that these guys are passionate about the game they're gonna make, and it's gonna get fixed, and it's only gonna get better. Now, multiplayer, that game is not ready for it, because it needs to be around. I'm gonna say, like I said earlier before we start recording, in my podcast, there's two people. There's Frank, who's the brains, and there's me, who's the heart part, where I speak my opinions, and he most of the time tells me to shut up because I go too far. So I'm going to try one of those opinions right now. I don't feel like Cyberpunk is ready for the next 2 years. It should first of all fix the game, and then have people fall in love over with the game, with the DLCs that they're coming up. This is the first thing they should try to do, to make sure that now that we have a non-toxic gaming community just bashing a game for now no reason.
Right.
I have like my feed's been only like this, and I told people, you guys never skip the meal, and it shows. And people get angry in the comments. They're like, they're so mean. It's worse than the TVA comments. They're really angry because they were promised something, and like it didn't happen. Unless you own a PS4 and Xbox One, and you can't play the game, and then you get the refund, then shut up. And now you have kids that they want the refund, and they want to still be able to play the game. Like, you can't have both.
I know, that's the weird thing, right? I saw that too. It's like they're offering refunds, and then the kids are like, "Yeah, but I still want to play the game." It's like, well, then what are you complaining about? Like, the game is not in a position to where they can give you a game that is not what it is right now. So if you don't want to play it and you can't play, like, for instance, something I keep bugging you about, Anthem.
Yeah.
So
that one, just for the record, it broke my fucking heart.
Well, so that's it. So I'm a Destiny guy. I've been playing Destiny almost since Lord of Wolves, or since Rise of the Wolves. So I've been playing that game forever, like 5 years, almost 6 years now. I play it every day. Go in there, play whatever modes, version, raids, whatever. Like, that's my clan's based around. Most of the guys I play online, that we're all based around that game. So when Anthem came out, we thought it was a cool evolution. Here we are. It's like everything we kind of wanted. It's like, now we get Destiny-ish stuff, and then we get to fly around in mech suits. Like, this is fucking fantastic. Bought Anthem, downloaded it, got loading screens. It's like, what?
It was terrible.
I was like, loading screens? I'm like, what is this? I'm like, Destiny has loading screens, but you're flying, there's cinematics, there's things to like load the game behind it, so you're not really paying attention to it. But there's like dead loading screens in Anthem. I'm like, what is this? And then you get into the game and actually get into the gameplay, and it's so repetitive. It was like so the same exact thing over and over and over again. And I'm like, is this a demo or is this a full game? Like, what were they trying to pull? I was like, this is a game that should have said, we're not ready. We're not ready. This game's not ready. We can't do this.
1 more year could have saved a lot of things, because here's why it broke my heart. Just like you, I'm a bit like I said, I do illustration and everything, so I'm a big concept art fan, and I thought that what they did was amazing, and was really into it. And the first time I got into my suit, the javelin they're called, and I'm always go for the big tanky version of it. So I had the big one. I could fly around. I had a shield, and it lasted like an hour. And then I went like, is there something more to it? And the first problem is that they really wanted people to play together, which is a great thing. I mean, I'm all about playing with my friends, especially in a COVID environment where I can't sit next to you, but we can have a party and talk with each other and play. I'm all about that. But I feel like this game had so much to tell story-wise. I haven't been able to finish the story because I have to be with fucking 3 people at all time.
Yeah.
You know, that's the good thing with Destiny. Every time I played Destiny and I had any friends, I could go on with the lore and the campaign. I'd be having a blast, and then I could jump in with my friends. Now all they wanted to do is you need your friend at all time to play the game, or you're with some. Here's the thing that I hate about gaming. I'm gonna go on a rant for a while. Jesus fucking Christ! When you play with people that skip all the fucking cinematic. Like, I haven't seen them, bro. Just, could you please take a minute
or they talk over it all the time?
Here's the thing. My game experience should not influence or make yours worse, because if you want to skip those fucking cinematic, you're allowed to do it. And I should be allowed to go through this thing. And I play with friends that all they want to do, we call it in French, they boach. They just want to run, loot. And I'm just like, can I just enjoy the design? I want to look at stuff. You know, when you have those items thing and you can move them around. I'm the type of player that goes, I look at this shit. I read
of course. Because you do that, right? You understand the concept of how to create this whole, like I did graphic design for like 5 years. So I'm the same thing. When I look at like how a character is put together, when the new armors come out and everything, they're like, oh, I could reskin. I'm like, yeah, but you have no idea how long that reskin took.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like to look at something and have to like retouch and get the lighting properly, like, the artificial light and everything, how to balance things. Like, you don't know how hard that is.
And I'm just sitting there going, wow. And especially in Anthem, I could modify everything about my javelin. I remember spending like 40 minutes just, this is going to be green. This is going to change the material. This was awesome. I feel like they've put so much heart and stuff that was so cool, but you should have done this at the end and make sure that the campaign was actually just, just playable. And then these type of games are, they keep on evolving with the community after. And what EA did was shitty. I remember I downloaded it 3 times. The first time it came out, 6 months after, a year after, another time lately. And lately now I just go offline and I play the mission on my own, but I got bored because it's too hard and nothing really, it's a bit broken. And I remember restarting it a year after in February, and it's still Christmas theme village. And when I got off the platform, there was no floor, and my javelin would the guy that walks around would fall off, and the looting would start over. I'd start again on the platform, and I'd start walking towards the market. I'd fall off, and I'm like, really, guys? So I feel like this game had so many potential, but nobody went and took them to court, didn't they?
No, they just because it was Microsoft, right? It was them, it was EA. And
why can't we go after EA and not CD Red Projects that put their art and soul in fucking games?
Because you know what it is? It's EA is this big conglomerate. Microsoft is this big conglomerate, and this is exactly the situation that Destiny had with their game, and the transition that they made, where they started off under Activision. That's how they got all their money. And they were building the game, and they built it great, and they did all this stuff. But then as you became immersed in this world, and you were learning all these things and the lore, the one thing I will say about Destiny, which always has me, is the lore. The fact that they put so much effort, and like when they have those like talks with the lore masters and everything, the people like they've got a full on group of people who do nothing but write lore. They write the story out, and then the graphics guys and everybody go and figure out, okay, how can we make this into the game? How can we? It's like you're taking Star Wars movies, which kind of gets you introduced to the world, and then you go and read the books that are canon afterwards, and then learn all the background behind everything else.
And
like
that's blows your mind.
That's it. And then so you're like, oh, I got to know more. I want to know more. Oh, that's why we did this. This is who this person is. That's what we're doing this for. So it really kind of plays. But the problem is when they had Activision running the show, because they had all the money, all they wanted to do was microtransactions, DLCs, all this kind of stuff. So they would put out this. I mean, they've had discussions with this, like Luke Smith, who runs the show, has talked about it. Like they wanted to put out like this full DLC, say, and then they would say like, okay, well, take this out, give this to them, and then we're going to charge this to them later. And he's like, well, but it's
a typical. It's not so much like this anymore because there was backlash.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a thing like I'd say 4 years ago, EA was a strong, and it's still doing it with a sports game.
Yeah.
There was a lot of
although it's losing shit on Madden right now. A lot of people are unhappy with Madden.
Well, here's what I'm gonna blame a bit on the player here.
Yeah.
You keep paying $90 for a fucking copy paste game. Why can't we play? Here's one thing I said to Frank and on the podcast. Like, why can't we go? Listen, hear me out. You pay $12 a month, $10 a month, and it follows you on every console that you have and updates you every. There's way more money to be made there, and
like a World of Warcraft kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when there's a new team, you get the expansion. When there's new player, you get it, but you have to pay every month. And for those, and these type of gamers are slightly different than what I am, because I don't give a shit about sport. I've played enough sports. I don't want to go play sports on a computer game. I just want to let it all out. And I want to fight space aliens or zombie robots from the sky. I don't care about sports on console, but it's important to a lot of people, and they're just being robbed every time. They have to pay for their cards on FIFA right now, which is, it blows my mind. It's nothing new. It's basically, and there's been lawsuit about this, especially in Canada this year, and it's going to come up next year on January. I think they're going to come up with it. It's gambling.
Yeah,
and that's bullshit.
Yeah,
that's not how what gaming should be.
Yeah, they did the whole loot box thing. I got buddies who play in the UK, and they outlawed loot boxes. Like it came from what was the Star Wars Battlefront? Is that it?
Yeah,
it came from Battlefront 2. Because I like even Battlefield. Like I was saying, I was like, oh, cool, Luke Skywalker, all this kind of stuff and everything. And then you play the game for 20 minutes. You're like, okay, and then you realize that you've got to buy or earn loot boxes in order to get new stuff.
And the earning process is so ridiculous that you end up like, if you're an adult like you and I, you go and you really want to play Luke Skywalker, which I think is a respectable idea. I would really enjoy playing Luke Skywalker, and I'm gonna just pay for it. I remember when Apex came out, you didn't have that kind of problem with Apex. Absolutely not. You can grind the game and buy with the game currency the new legends, because I don't give a shit about. No, that's not true. I do give a shit about skins, but they have to be very special in order for me to spend money. But when it happens. But as an adult, if I haven't grind Apex properly and I really want to play the new legend on the new season, I don't mind giving Apex $14 because I play so many hours into it. But Battlefront was just, man, you got to give your life to this game in order to get something without putting money out of your pocket, which is, there's a balance there. I don't mind as an adult giving money to a studio if what I'm having is fun. Just Apex for me is that's what it is. And even though it's EA, I just have to put it out there for people who are listening. It's Respawn, which is an amazing studio that got bought from EA in 2017, and they're responsible for the Titanfalls, the new Star Wars game, what's it called? I played it. Jesus,
Fallen Order.
Yeah, they're really good at what they do, and they're close to their community, and that's why they're really good. And that's the problem with the sports era or some EA games where it's all about the money and it's not about the game anymore. It should be about the game, and then the money comes in. Because if you put out a good product, I don't mind giving you 10, even a good DLC, $25 for DLC, $30 for DLC. If I've enjoyed the games like crazy, I don't mind, because I want to go back at it and have some new stuff. The best example comes from CD Red Projekt. Unfortunately, I played Witcher 3 when it was all over. The hype was gone. So I bought the whole thing with the 2 expansion pack for $30.
Mm-hmm.
And I put so many hours in there, and I would never have a problem in my life to put $200 in there.
Right.
Because it was worth it. Even though it was a really buggy game, by the way. Mm-hmm. So people are just, I feel like this new generation of gamer are just like, I want it now, and I'm crying, and I need it right now. And they don't understand, like you said something at the beginning of the podcast that's really important. It's like they've never struggled, and they've all they ever had was a performance game that's a high level. And now when something struggles, they don't understand the behind the whole thing.
That's
I don't know if it makes sense. It was a really long sentence in English. It was hard. Sorry.
They don't understand the process of how something gets from point A to point B. Like I even play with some guys who when Destiny has lags, or it has these things or these problems, I'm like, yeah, I get it. But at the same time, guys, like, listen, you got to understand, trying to get a system to where everything is working cohesively, finding a rhythm, doing all this. Because, so again, I always draw back to Destiny because I play it all the time. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem with Destiny, what has, is always the balance between PvE and PvP. There's never really been a video game out that has such a fellowship and has done both sides of gaming
properly
so well. Like the gunplay, everything, the balancing. I don't know how they do it. I don't get how they manage it. Somehow they make it work. But like, there are times in the game when new things get introduced. Like right now, they just introduced a new subclass, and everybody's fucking freaking out because it's so unbalanced compared to the rest of the way the game works. Like it changed the dynamic. And everybody's up in arms because they're like, oh, fuck this and do that and blah, blah, blah. And this stupid freezing thing is too long and I can't do this. And it's like, yeah. But guys, listen, it's the pains of growing. Would you rather just have the same 3 subclasses and not have any? And but that's the thing. And then so the biggest problem they always had was they would introduce these new weapons or new skills, and then they would be OP. And then the way they used to deal with it is they nerfed it. So that it would be great, and then they would nerf it. And it'd be good for a while, and they'd nerf it. So then the thing that you worked so hard to ascertain would then be a piece of shit.
But here's the thing that I'm going to take Apex as even though it's 2 different games, I in no way want to compare them on that way. But since we're going to go PvP, what Apex does is when something is OP, they nerf it, but they keep all the other guns in line, which basically means if for one season nobody's playing the the Wingman, which is a revolver gun that's super strong, but nobody's playing it because it's really hard. Only the pros are playing it. They're gonna give him a little buff. They're gonna start working on stuff, and that's a plus thing they can do because nobody works their perks in a certain way. Everybody's equal when they land. You pick up the shit, you play.
Yeah,
that's one thing that Destiny cannot land on. But if they can find a way to go back to the original weaponry, if someone kept us all set of something from last season and now they give it a buff, but then they let people know, it's gonna like give value to your work, that all the hours if you put in. But it's hard to do, and I'm gonna give it to Destiny. They've been balancing their shit real good.
Yeah,
even on PvP. I mean, I remember I would lack the skills to play properly, but I remember that even though my light wasn't as strong as the other guy, I was able to kill them if I was playing properly.
That's it.
But it's a constant change. People don't get that. It's like every time you start a game, they have to equalize everyone.
That's it.
It's not a one-time process, and now you're fucked.
Well, there's because so you create something, like if you create like Titan's got Titan skate now, so they can literally like slide like 6 feet, so they can get real close real fast to you. They got to come up with something that can block it, right? So then they have to give hunters like throwing stars that can freeze you. They got to give warlocks like projectile melees. So all these things, they have to keep coming into balancing. And so like the sandbox has to keep evolving and changing. And then even season to season, they're still changing the sandbox so that it doesn't get stagnant. So like last season, it was auto rifles. Auto rifles were the thing. You had to have a 600 RPM rounds per minute auto rifle because that was the meta. That's what worked the best. Mm-hmm. Now it's changed. Now it's like sidearms and hand cannons are back into being prevalent. So, you know, the OG fucking PvP guys who used to run snipers and hand cannons all the time. They're back into play and they're they're back to doing their thing. But it amazes me to listen. I mean, you go down those YouTube rabbit holes where it's like one video just starts playing after the next, and then until eventually you get
to it's 3 a.m. and you have to work.
That's it. And then you're like, why am I listening to this fucktard talk about stupid shit? The fuck is this thing? But yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. One other thing, one other thing I want to talk to you about is this evolution of I want to call them community leaders in the video gaming industry. And I wanted to talk to you whether you thought this was a positive or a negative. Personally, for me, I think it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. I kind of lean a little bit more on it's kind of like I don't know quite how to explain it other than I look at it kind of like politics. Where if
actually, it's an accurate point.
Yeah, I look at it like politics, where if somebody's in power or someone's on the top of the echelon for a little bit too long, they become corrupted and they're toxic. Because a lot of
to say certain things. Yeah.
Well, it becomes this whole talk, like it becomes this shit, and then they start complaining, and then the whole people complain, and then the one thing that I see the enigma that keeps appearing in front of me that I keep being like is that they feel like they speak for the community. Like they always start out talking like, hey guys, thanks for following, we're doing this for people. I mean, there are certain guys out there who are great, like DCP, like I only really follow Destiny stuff, but like, Destiny Community Podcast does a really good job on staying positive. There's a kid called CB Gray who's a dude by himself. He does help streams all the time, but he's usually super positive, whatever. But there's a lot of dudes out there who literally all they do is fucking complain. And then they complain and they feel like they're at this top echelon of playing. They're going like flawless in trials like every week. And then they start complaining about shit, that like
as
the comment players
that right because
they're like, oh well, I get to tell, whatever, blah blah blah. It's like, hey, fucktard. You're sitting there doing all this kind of shit, and it's great. You're fantastic. You're good. You're still going like flawless. Like I get it. You're trying to be constructive, but you're just bitching. You're just bitching. It's like you're not giving any kind of positive like outlook onto what's going on. You're literally just complaining because some dude, whatever. Now, given there's a lot of issues with fucking, glitches and people fucking happening in the game, and Destiny did a great thing in the last patch where they sued the company that was basically like back-ending their game and destroying it, which is fantastic. But like for you, like what's your feeling on like, the whole community leader streamer kind of thing? Do you feel like it's doing obviously some positives, but like what's your
that's first of all, it's an amazing question. It's like we were talking about before we start recording, discussing ideas. This is I just want to go quickly over the politics point. I feel like the community is like a bit like politics. I mean, whatever your beliefs are, whatever your experience is, as a decent citizen, you have to listen. I believe personally in both sides, even though I'm not like I'm gonna try and listen to someone's opinion. And then try to, at least listen to it and see like what comes out of it. If you're willing to listen to someone and to listen to everyone and make your own opinion, right there, you're not going to have so much trouble with the gaming community, because at the end of the day, some games are shitty and I fell in love with it and I paid for it and I'm happy about it. And some games are amazing. I didn't like it so much, but you have to keep in mind that your opinion are not facts. And these people are not always spitting facts. And that's the thing that I feel a lot of people get lost in there. I'm going to give you an example, and it has nothing to do with gaming. Well, it's gaming, but it's I follow this guy called Matt Colville, and he's a dungeon master.
Nice.
He plays Dungeons and Dragons, and he's a game designer. He worked for Turtle Rock Studio for a very long time. And now he made so much money with a Kickstarter for a book that he made about new rules that works with Dungeons and Dragons,
right?
5e, the new edition. And like he was for a while the he raised 2.5 millions in 72 hours. It was ridiculous. And he started his own company. And I listened to him a lot because I like Dungeons and Dragon, and Dungeons and Dragon is about about your own judgment call, because it's with rules, but they're more like they're not rock solid.
Yeah, it's not concrete. Yeah,
which is something you can't do in gaming. But here's why I think it's important. It's because I respect that guy very, very much. I like his knowledge. He gives out those opinion or ideas to bring in your own game, but it's never it's never final. Like, you can take the idea and bring it in your game. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You don't have to hate the guy for that. If you're not, sometimes he says shit, I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to do that, but I still enjoy what he's saying and the ideas he's trying to bring to the game, and he's always trying to make the whole thing evolve. And he keeps saying to people, my opinions are one thing, but if you want to do this in your game, that's your thing. And I feel like your job as someone that consumes gaming is not to just follow one person, because it's gonna eventually, like you said, when they rise to the top, they get really good. All they do is bitching. Most of them. Some of them, they still try to make the best of it and have a decent opinion, or they try to bring facts, or they try to support the why they're not liking something, or why something is good, And I feel like it's our job as people to just sit down and not consume just one person, and just go out there and listen. And as you grow up, you buy your own shit. I mean, it's not a parent buying your games anymore. So the money that I invest in there, it comes from my pocket. I'm going to try to get an opinion and see, I'm mad that I paid right now. I bought Avengers for $40, and it's
and I was going to do it, and I was like, no, I got to give it some time. I got to give it some time.
Do it. It's not worth it at $40, even though it's from Montreal, and I love Idios Montreal and Square Enix. It's not. And I'm a big Avenger fan, and I'm of course, it's not doing nothing for me right now. But I had to go through a few. I made a mistake, but at the end of the day, I bought the fucking thing, and that's my problem. And I feel like a lot of people are blaming others for their own decision. They're out there spitting content that's not necessarily irrelevant, but you have to make your own opinion about it, and sometimes you have to take risk. I feel it's quite toxic. Lately, I feel there's a lot of I keep saying the same sentence over and over, but man, some of them never skipped a meal, and it shows. And it pisses me off. I feel though we have a responsibility to change how we talk to people online, so it's less toxic.
For sure.
I feel also that you have, as a person, the responsibility of making your own opinion. Just like everything, we have the best example, the best two examples in 2020, Trump's campaign and COVID-19. Am I gonna listen to a fucking guy who didn't finish his high school and he's got an opinion? Because people need to understand that your opinion is not there aren't facts, first of all, and it's not because your opinion is something that it's relatable or it's important to be listened to. Because if I'm going to talk about I don't know, if I'm going to talk about football, and I have my girlfriend that gives me her opinion about football, why did they throw the ball instead of running? As much as I love my wife that's carrying my unborn child, I do not give a shit what she thinks about football personally, because she doesn't know anything about it. She wouldn't do that. But sometimes people's opinion needs to come with a background to be pushed out there. I'm not going to listen to someone who's only been playing StarCraft 2 for the last 4 years bitch about Cyberpunk 2077.
Right.
You know what I mean? The thing is, it's so shallow. We need to go a bit deeper and try to figure out who we're listening to and why are we listening to them? Are they just entertaining, or do they have something to back this?
Right.
And we're trying to do this on my podcast, since I'm not trying to bring this back to my thing, but here's the
100% bring it back to your thing. Of course.
Behind our thing is that we're two grown men with jobs. Gaming is a bit part of our life, but we have other responsibility, and we want to talk to guys like us. I don't have time to go check out all the new releases. I don't have time to do this. I can just log on Wednesday night. Listen, I had a few ideas, because we can't talk about all the games that comes out on one episode. There's so much stuff all the time. So we pick what we think is interesting. We put it out there, but we never take for granted the fact that these are opinions. And we say it out loud. It's like, this is our opinion. If you like the game, if you come watch our show, we're going to bitch about FIFA once in a while, because we don't give a shit about this. And I keep saying it. What I'm saying right now is not, it's not pure facts. Like there's a difference. And these people have a responsibility to not bitch for no reason and give some decent content. But unfortunately, with the internet, that's not what we're getting. And we have a responsibility to just not take everything that comes our way. And as a person who's a bit naive, I used to take, and I still do sometimes, and it's a work in progress. Everything people say, I'm like, I get angry with them, and then I have to slow down and goes like, no, this doesn't make sense.
Right.
But the gaming community, yes, it's toxic, but it's the content creator and the content user, whatever you call them, responsibility to make it better. And I feel like if you look at certain games that have community feedback that it's not toxic, the game evolves better. I don't have an example. I feel like Apex is a good example.
Apex is a good example. Destiny beforehand, when it was like Gathalion, Professor Broman, what it used to be about, simply like it was, the community was built upon don't be a dick, like help each other out, let's make the things better. But then eventually these guys get older, they start getting families, you know what I mean? You're not going to be a content creator forever. You know, you're eventually going to, like you said, you're going to have a life and a job and you're going to do your own thing. As those guys got aged out and that new regime of guys came in, it became more about just being about that, posting those clips, getting those little moments,
TikTok generation.
That's it. Like, just, quick shit, like whatever, let's just make fun of these people, fuck those guys, all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's just the kind of.
I also feel that the culture of the meme is very strong in the gaming.
Yeah.
And some of these kids are just, and I feel bad saying that because I'm part of that generation. I'm not that old. I feel like we're in the best generation. Like I can't understand why the original guys are still working on the game, but I can understand why I get bored easily. Like I mean, I can balance those two things.
I don't know if that's a generation thing. I think that's just more of an age thing. I think as you get older, you start to see, like your eyes. I always talk about it as far as like human evolution. When
I'm going to take out generation out of the vocabulary. Just as I grow older.
Yeah, that's it.
But I have to agree with you. It's not. I don't want to be that guy who's okay boomer the shit out of people.
Although okay boomer's pretty funny though.
It is. I'm not gonna lie about that. But I don't want to be that guy either. So
yeah, for sure.
Yes, as you grow older, your time becomes more precious. Like I have a baby on the way, and I know I'm not going to game as much. So your games better be like what I'm going to play. It's better be fun.
Yeah,
I'm going to take Avenger for example again. I play it to play with friends right now because we're all separated. But right now, I'd rather play alone. Play God of War again than play this game because this experience and this thing, I have control over it, and I know if I have 2 hours to play, I'm going to be satisfied. If I play 2 hours of Apex, sometimes it's amazing. Sometimes I go to bed angry.
Yeah.
So the whole thing as we grow up changes a bit, and I'm definitely going away from multiplayer game lately.
Right.
I just want to give me a good story. The Last of Us Part 2, Cyberpunk's giving me this right now. I'm going back to God of War, and I feel like it's also giving me a little breather from that community. And as a podcaster about gaming, I keep reading and reading, and it's a never ending story about Cyberpunk until someone fucks up again somewhere else.
Yeah, that's it. Like I've seen, at least in my Google feed, at least like half the stories are all about Cyberpunk is this. We're not doing that. This is this. They're going to sue Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk, whatever. And I'm like, guys, the game just came out like 2 weeks ago. Can we just like chill out and just let them everyone's playing it. They're finding all the bugs.
One of the number one game on Steam right now.
That's it. Like they're finding the bugs. They'll react to it. They'll get it and they'll figure it out and it'll get better. Like all these people like, I want my money back. It's like, okay, you want your money back. And then what are you going to do? Like you're going to spend it on another game that you're going to have the same issue and everyone's going to keep playing Like I'm going to keep playing Cyberpunk. I don't care. Like I think it's fine. Like it's a little buggy. Okay, big fucking deal. Like they'll figure it out. It's fine. I got patience. But like I said, I think that's a human evolutionary thing. I think the problem is at a certain point before this era, like we said, before the meme and the TikTok and the internet, the only voices that we would hear were kind of like these vetted voices of people whom were, I'm not going to say it's better or whatever. Like, a lot of cases would say that
the other side of the spectrum, which can be very bad.
Exactly. Like you had very little voices, but the thought was very linear, and then now you've got a lot of voices where it's erratic and all over the place. So people are quick to make a judgment because they feel like they don't have time to like, I got to make, you know what I mean? Like I got to make the decision now. I've got to like refrain. I got to remove this information. But I think it's just a growing thing. Like, because when you're real small, when you're like, you'll see when you're a child and you watch this child grow up, the world is very egocentric. Like it's all about you. It's about your experiences and how you experience things and how you see things. And then as you grow up, like you get friends and you start to have these relationships with people. You start to take other people's feelings into consideration. So now you start trying to see the world through other people's eyes, and you start understanding that, maybe the way you see things or hear, or at least if you're a decent human being, like you'll look at them and be like, okay, maybe I was doing something wrong. Maybe I'm missing something.
That's what in English, that's what it is. Empathy, being able
to exactly. It's being empathetic. Exactly. Like you're trying to learn, you're understanding the other person's point of view before you make like a decision on your actions just based solely on yourself. So I think it's just one of those things where, and then again, it's like people just say, well, it's fucking like video games. So like, who gives a fuck? It's not like life or death situation, right? So this is the place where, people are frustrated, people, whatever, they take it out. I mean, like you said, you play PvP games. It's literally like, I don't know how many times, like I used to play Dota with a bunch of friends.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't think I've ever been called the N-word so many times in my life, like than playing Dota. And by like Asian kids who like don't speak English.
Funny. I shouldn't be laughing, and it's not.
No, it's hilarious because I'm sitting there and like I'm playing with a couple of friends, and then because the way that Dota works is like you can either play offline and just play the computer, but if you want to play in a live environment, you have to automatically go into these. You have to go into these lobbies, and like the lobbies are separated by like different regions, so North America, South America, UK, Africa, Asia. And there's always
Korea has its own fucking thing because they're so good at it.
Well, and then so like these Asian kids would come into the American one and they'd be like spitting Mandarin or Cantonese back to each other, and then they'd be like, "Oh, fucking N-word," and it'd be like, "What the fuck was that about? Like, what the hell's wrong with you?" And then you have like a guy screaming at the top of his fucking lungs, like somebody, like, "Why the fuck did you make that play?" It's like, hold on, asshole. Who the fuck are you, for one? And two, like, where the fuck's your Ritalin? Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, and it's this weird
a rough example because it's the most toxic community, and it's one of the most played game out there. But the community, if you're not, the learning curve is a bitch.
Oh, it's huge. It's a fucking, it's a Mount Everest of just.
And everyone is behind their mic. What are you gonna do if they say the N-word?
It's nothing.
If they would see you in real life, they'd be scared, man. Yeah, I know you personally. You're not a bad person. You're not dangerous, but like, and
that's the weird psychological dynamic that we're dealing with. I mean, we've known it a long time in video games, but I think this is what the world is dealing with now, is that idea of removing repercussions for bad behavior. Like in the gaming community, listen, we've been dealing with this since Call of Duty, like since fucking CSGO. Like, you know what I mean? Like my buddy,
so many mom that've been fucked over Call of Duty lobbies.
Like
a lot of lobbies took it.
One of my best friends taught me to Counter-Strike. Like I used to play Counter-Strike on the computer all the time.
Yes.
Like the amount of shit you'd get if like you screwed up or something on a team or something, like, is unreal. Like
at the same time, one of my favorite thing in Warzone right now, and I don't even play. I play it a bit with my producer.
Right.
I say producer, it sounds really good, but it's one of our friends that produces everything during the podcast that does it for a living, and he helps us once a week. I play it with my producer, Jasmine, and we're just playing duos. But there's the kill cam, but there's also now the kill mic. I don't know how to say it. Someone you can hear like for 2 seconds what he's saying.
Fuck you, bitch! Yeah, dick in your mouth. It's like, what?
It's one of the best things there is out there.
Oh my god, dude!
And I'm guilty as like the things they say to me for the few kills I get.
Yeah.
I mean, they could say anything, but then again, we're not going to get into that. And it's still funny. I love it. I personally love it. There's no excuse to the N-word and all this stuff that's been said,
For
but
sure. For sure.
it's very satisfying to kill someone. And then the N-word goes really loud in my, I was like, what was that for? It's a game.
Okay. What the fuck just happened?
And then I stopped and I was like, what is it to kill me? It's mostly like, it's just me laughing because I'm not really good and I enjoy.
Well, that's it, right? Fun, yeah, like I'm the same way. I don't like when I'm playing Destiny PvP, like, there's baggers, people send you messages. Like we always say, people are sending you love letters, like, all these kind of, oh, fuck this, using that shit or whatever. I don't do any of that. I literally just, like, I will just take a couple of emotes, like I always have a disrespectful emote. I have like a stance emote. So like, you're just going to pose. I have like, a funny emote, and then I got like just a sitting emote. So it's like, if you're just being a dick or using a weapon that, like basically just does all the work for you, I'll just be a dick. Like my favorite one is just like character folds his arms and just turns his head like, nah, dude. Like, what is that? What is that? No, like,
these are small parts of gaming that are amazing, but then again, put in the wrong hands.
Well, that's it. It's again, these things are always tools, right? People always want to blame the tools. It's the human behind the shit who's doing the fucking who's doing the stupid shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can create an atomic bomb, or you can create nuclear energy and fuel everybody's houses. Like, it's totally up to you.
Up to you. What do you want to do with it? And that's and as gaming is evolving and trying to give freedom to everyone, this is gonna happen, and it's our responsibility in the community and the people building those games to make the best of it. And at the end of the day, it's not gonna. I'm like, is it me being negative? But it's not gonna go away. It's gonna get better, and it's your inner. Well, I'm gonna go full chakra on you, yoga shit. It's your journey personally to go on and find what makes you happy and not shit on other people. At the end of the day. And I'm like, you're a good example. You got your friends, you got your clan, you're having fun together. I'm pretty sure most of these people are decent human being like you. Don't shit.
Yeah, we kick them. Like, that's it. If you're shit, we just kick you. It's like, that's it. We're not dealing with the shit.
And I feel like also, how you mentioned that there's a lot of noise in the community. A lot of people talk shit. A lot of people are irrelevant. And since, back when we were kids on TV, I'm going to take TV as an example, and correct me if I'm wrong. If I don't make sense, please tell me.
Of course.
If I wanted information, I go to the fucking news channel. I had 3, maybe 4. I'm talking before 400 channel thing. There were about 30 channels.
Like when it was just cable
music
TV.
First existed, and there was playing music.
Yep.
And if I wanted information, I'd go to whatever. I'd go TVA, TQS, things like this for French, French Canadian like me. And you had other stuff for Anglophone. I don't remember because back then my English was, nothing.
It was like CTV, CBC, same thing.
And without going into another struggle that power control those channels, back then these were this is the good information I'm listening. Then I go on whatever on YTV, I'm gonna get cartoons.
Of course.
Now I feel if I go on other thing, I'm gonna watch movies, whatever. Now it's my job to decide what is what, and I have to build my own opinion about it. There are streamers. I'm a big Twitch fan. I go on Twitch every once in a while. I like it as a noise background when I'm done with music. I like it when I draw. I watch some gameplay. I have few classic guys. I love Dr. Disrespect. I love Tim the Tapman. These 2 guys, when I go watch them, like I'm not getting.
Yeah, so on Dr. Disrespect, what happened? Like, I don't understand. Like, I only saw a couple of headlines, but like, what happened with, like, why did he get kicked off Twitch? For what reasoning?
The first time he filmed himself in a public room in California, which is illegal. And it was a honest mistake. He was just he wasn't taking a piss at the moment, but he was out of a TwitchCon, and it happened to be in the state of California, which is legal to use a camera. And he got kicked out for a few, but then he got kicked out again, and now he's on YouTube. I was talking about Twitch, but I do watch.
No,
I don't know why either. I'm gonna be honest, and maybe it's me, like I said, getting older. I don't give a fuck why he got kicked. Like, unless he did something really bad, and we're gonna know about it right now. It's a money thing. It's just like when Ninja went to Mixer and then he came back. And he doesn't have like half of what Tim the Tatman is doing, but he's still getting Microsoft $30 million deal.
He's the blueprint on like, hey, play a video game, get real good, make famous friends, get them somewhere, and then boom, make tons of money.
I watched Dr. Disrespect play with OBJ Warzone.
Yeah.
And I'm as much as I'm a Browns fan for the last 4 years, and I mean, as much as I love OBJ, he wasn't very entertaining. It was all Dr. Disrespect doing the job and everything.
For sure.
And I also like to watch Z Laner, which is a Canadian streamer who's on Facebook.
Right.
They're really good at Warzone. But when I watch these guys, it's entertainment. I'm not getting information. And the problem is that these kids, they watch those people and they don't make the difference between this and when they start hating because they have a bad day. These guys are streaming every fucking day. Like, I'm gonna get a bad day, and it's a loophole. You get in there and people talk shit in their chat and they're answering and everything. And it's their job to not be idiots, but also it's your job to stop. It's like, well, this is entertaining, and I'm gonna watch other stuff. And now on YouTube, there's a lot of noise. And it's your job to sit down and figure it out. Does this person either as what she's saying is true or he's saying? And it's your job to go see, because now anybody can start something and be, for some reason, very popular very quickly. And then what they're saying is it become like Bible-like scripture. But it doesn't have to be like, it doesn't mean it's true. Yeah, it's your job as a community. And it's your job to, when someone says something, to think about it before you it's so easy to go on your keyboard and go, well, fuck you, you asshole, and be
for sure, yeah.
And I'm the first one. When people started bitching on Cyberpunk, I'd be like, well, it runs fine on my PC. I'd be that feedback for a few days. And I was like, and then PS4 people and Xbox One were mad, and they're allowed to be mad. And then you can't have the money and the game. And now there's like other categories of shitty people under those shitty. Anyway. It gets complicated.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's always like I always apply the same logic for when me and my girlfriend get into arguments. Like, the one thing I learned was your argument has to have a purpose.
Yeah.
So if you're arguing for a point, meaning that you're trying to decide on something, that's one thing. If you're arguing simply for the fact that you just want to win, that's a completely different situation in itself. So like, if you're saying things because the game's not running properly, because it's whatever, because you want the game to succeed, but it's not meeting up to specifications and something, that's warranted. That's okay, because you want something to be what it is, but you're not, you know what I mean? You're not really.
It's not an attack. It's a highlight of something that's not working.
And it's a frustration, right? Yeah. But then when you're just basically jumping onto the bandwagon because you're looking for something to like to exude your hate towards, I mean, then you're not helping anything. You just want to, as like the Joker says, you just want to watch the world burn.
And there's a lot of people on the internet and in the gaming community. Trolls are a thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an example of how because I had this, I felt a bit above of everyone. I was like, I'm going to explain why. I was like, it's running fine on my PC. What could be so bad? And I was done watching all those videos on YouTube of fucked up footage. And to me, honestly, once in a while when the cargo flybys, I just find it hilarious. But anyway, what made me realize that CD Red Project was a bit off track and had a lot of work to do is when I'd re-downloaded, because to me, God of War is a Christmas game. 2 years ago, downloaded it, played it.
Right, yeah.
And I looked at Kratos' beard. Then I looked at Keanu Reeves or Johnny Silverhand's beard, and I went, fuck. Okay, no, it's not. And I got a good computer. It's not the best computer. It's not Henry Cavill's Superman's computer that he put it on the internet, but it's a decent PC. And I'm like, okay, they're robbing me here. Like graphically, it should be better. But then again, I'm comparing a PlayStation game that
you're comparing a very linear game that's taking you from point A to point B to one that's going from A to A1 to A6 to A50, A94.
And even more so, that's going, like you said, on all those platforms. And Kratos, God of War was pushed only on PlayStation 4.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they maxed out that they had all their time. They're backed by Sony and everything, which is, by the way, Sony is bigger than everyone else, except that maybe Microsoft. But but then it kind of give me perspective on, yeah, maybe it should be better. But then again, like I said, I was a PC kid for until 99. And I had the first PlayStation a few years after, because the first PlayStation was in 96, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And I started with PlayStation, and I always had console ever since I got this computer. But when you buy a computer, you got to accept that you can run what you have.
Yeah,
and that's why I like console. It's plug and play. If it's not working, it's shit. But on my PC, I wasn't mad that everything wasn't perfect, because I knew my computer wasn't the highest. Like the ray tracing on my computer, it's not that good. But I wish I had a PS4, a PS5, and I could have the ray tracing on Cyberpunk. But then again, it's all about choices that adults understand.
Yeah, that's it.
And the kids that get their shit paid to them, or some of them are not. They don't get the difference. I feel like people, and as much as PC Master Race is a thing, I'm not disappointed in the game because there's one thing that doesn't work. There's so much other things that are amazing. And I don't want to stop on fucking Kenny Reeves' beard. And I can't hate the whole game on his beard. And the fact that his boots are full on lettered, and it looks so real, but his face is rendered like Halo 1 from 2001 for a frame. And then you change like
you stand still for a couple seconds, and then he totally renders out, and you're like, "Oh, Keanu, there you are."
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But again, for me, it's like, it's weird, right? Because the whole premise of the game is that you're looking through these cybernetic eyes, right? Yeah. So it's glitchy, anyways. Like, that's the whole thing for me. It's like, guys, the whole premise of this game is that you are a human android hybrid with imperfect hardware, imperfect software. Like, you've hacked your body in the back, like, in the back of a bodega, with someone who has like a barber chair and is basically like got one cybernetic hand, and who's like taking your eyes out and putting cybernetic eyes in, you know what I mean? Like, in this most like hack jobbish of styles. And you guys expect this shit to be crystal clear? Like, I'm like, this is the whole feeling of the game. Everything's a hack job. Like,
but then now you're just being overly nice to CD Red Project. It should be better. There's people at the end of the day, they give you money, they expect a certain things, they're not getting it. But I have a lot of faith in CD Red Project, so that it's going to get better. The problem is they have to let it go and give them time, because it's their opus. Like, you don't get this shit done the first time. And this is where people are different. Me, I'm going to let it go. I can still play the game, and it's going to get better. I trust them. And there's people that just, they got to stick to that. And like you said, we mentioned it's a melting pot of such a melting pot of so many things, that some people just don't want to be right. They just want to tell people Cyberpunk is the best game in the world. Right now, I don't believe it is. I have a lot of fun playing it. I believe it's been overhyped, but also believe that they were a victim of the community pushing it so hard.
Yeah, for sure.
And now it's like, I don't have what I want. But have you seen the meme of the Chopper guys? Release Cyberpunk. It's not ready yet. Release Cyberpunk. It fucking throws it. And then the last frame is like, it's so buggy. And CD Red Project leaves the room.
They're just
there's this whole thing. And we have to, like, in French, we say faire la part des choses. Like, they've made a few mistakes. They've taken a big chunk out of something that maybe was too big. And also they were pushed to do so. There's a lot of things we also don't know, because the gaming world is such a secrecy, and we don't know if it's people pushing to make the money delivery because they were losing money at the how do you call it, la bourse in English? What's it, that the market,
at the end of the fiscal year, like the investment, like
that kind of shit,
taper off.
It's one of the biggest business in the world. So there's people pushing this, and you have to cut some places. We're not aware of everything, and there's a big part. Personally, I believe is you gotta fucking let it go and let them come back with something better. And I think the DLCs are gonna make you fall in with this game again, and eventually the multiplayer in a few. I'm gonna say few years, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm gonna say probably about like 2 years. It's gonna come out with a multiplayer. But I agree. I think it's very much like, every ambitious project that has ever been taken has never been perfect off the bat. Like, look at all of friggin' Elon Musk, like Tesla, SpaceX, all these kind of things. Everyone's like, hey, he's losing billions of dollars. It's like he's trying to fly a rocket and have it land back on Earth. Like, do you understand that we've literally just thrown junk into the sky and just left it there? Or it's come down, hopefully in the right area, but we never use it again. This guy's trying to find a reusable rocket. Like, he's really trying to like further us. Of course, it's not going to be perfect. And in the same, like, nowhere comparable, but in the same instance, you need one of these games or projects every couple of years that pushes the envelope to say, like, let's see how much we can do. Let's see how good we can kind of make it. It's not going to be perfect, but let's see how good we can do this thing to get it and see what we can do properly, and then we'll build from there. Like when GTA came out, like, and that was the first big multiplayer. Like, if you remember the graphics on the game, it wasn't fantastic.
But then again, it wasn't the same console generation at the moment.
It wasn't.
It was fine for its
but it was okay. But even then, you see, and this is the one thing that I think differentiated GTA from Cyberpunk is Cyberpunk was selling you on too many cinematics, too crisp, too clean, making everything look clear, not really selling the gameplay. Because Cyberpunk, to me, every time that I looked back on like the promos and what they were saying you could do in the game and everything, whenever you viewed the game, there was very little gameplay, a lot more of the cinematic, a lot more of watching characters walk around, watching, the strip club scenes, the gun, like, the semi gunfights, the cars, the bikes, everything, the different world. Like, that's what you were sold on. So I don't think they did a good enough job tailoring expectations to say, like, this is the gameplay, this is everything you can do in this game, which is a fucking shitload. But understand that, like, this is a cinematic. This is not how your game is going to look every single frame. You know what I mean?
Think there was a mistake marketing-wise.
Yeah.
Even though the marketing was amazing, like they were everywhere, people were talking about it. They did good things to talk about the game. It's the most download. There were 8 million downloads, pre-downloads. So it's huge. They made their. I don't think they made their money back exactly. I'm not sure. I don't know the numbers.
They're close to broke even right now.
They've been at it for like what, 10 years now,
something like that.
But I think it's a marketing problem. If it would have presented another way, it could have been received more nicely by the community. But then again, that's not how you treat your opus. Like they put it out there, it's gonna get there, but they could have easily played and worked on it for another year. But then they had to make it happen at the same time as the new console would come out.
Yeah.
And they had to make a decision that, at the end of the day, we're gonna forget about it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
So speaking of consoles, let's talk about that for a sec. So what's your opinion on the current console crisis? As far as, I know you're a PC guy, like you said. You mostly
I still have a PlayStation 4, and I will buy the PlayStation 5. It's just right now, I just spent like $1,300 on the computer.
Of course.
I'm not going to buy the PS5 right away after. I'm not that type of guy. I can't do that.
Of course. But so it's for me, just having, followed it and, kind of like, I mean, because whenever the consoles come out and stuff, it's always like, okay, when is your console coming out? Next year? Okay. Got to put aside $100 every once in a while so I can afford to buy the new console, ready to go, blah, blah, blah. So did that, was ready to go, when it was going to launch. Sony was supposed to have their, I mean, I don't follow Xbox. I'm not an Xbox guy. I'm a PS guy. So follow, the thing. Sony was supposed to be announcing when their console was going to be, like, when it was going to go live, right after their, I keep calling it symposium, but like after their big reveal. They had their Sony Con or whatever you want to call it, right? So then Walmart jumps the gun and says, hey, guess what? Consoles are available right now. Come get them. Boom, let's go.
They would release a certain amount of console every 3 hours to make sure that they would keep going, the stock going.
That's how it was.
A plan.
That's how it was supposed to go.
Yeah.
Didn't go that way because Walmart said, fuck the plan. Let's go. Like, we're selling. So Walmart opened up the floodgates. Everybody went in there, started buying. Problem was in hopes of, and this is what really kind of I think this is what frustrated me and a lot of other console guys, especially PS guys, is that leading up to their Sony presentation, Sony had said that their goal for the new console was, one, to make it affordable, which they did. It's not actually that expensive. And two, to make sure that the consoles were getting to people's houses. Because as they stated, where they make their money is not in the console sales. Where they make money is the subscriptions, the game sales, the accessories, all this kind of stuff. So
absolutely,
it pays them it's highly detrimental to them to have these consoles put into a scalper's hand and have tons of them stacking there. That being said, Walmart open up the floodgate. What ends up happening? Bots buy all the PS5s within, I think it was like a couple, like maybe 2 hours. Every preceding release, restock since then, has had the same issue. I know a couple of friends who have gotten PS5s through back end deals or whatever. But still to the point of where, like, it's, the thing that, which is crazy to me, is I can't find a PS5 on any website. Or if I do, it's marked up double
$1,200,
$1,400, right? Or you got to buy it in bundles, whatever it is. I go on Kijiji, I can find hundreds upon hundreds of those consoles online. And I'm like, you didn't foresee this problem? Like,
I feel like it's the first time, and it's so hard, it's so strong on the internet. Because I remember we had the same thing happening with the famous PlayStation 3. I was in CJEP back then, and I remember I was in a private CJEP. I was with rich kids. I wasn't one of them, but it was the only place they wanted me to play football, so I went there.
Right.
So I get with all those kids, and this kid shows up to me, and he goes, "Hey, you want to come with me to Walmart because the PlayStation 3 is coming out?" I don't even know if it was Walmart back then, but one of those stores. And he says, "I'm going to give you a bunch of cash. You're going to buy the PS3 for me. I'm going to sell it back after." And we ended up being a bunch of football players buying PS3s, like, because you can only buy 2 at the time, and it's harder in person to leave with those box. But if you're doing it on the internet, it's easier. You just buy them all, you program everything, and then you have that send somewhere.
Yeah.
I believe they didn't give a shit because all they wanted is to sell the damn thing. After that, it's not their problem. Now, I personally believe that PlayStation or any console, any product this way should be bought one by one with some sort of a recognition thing that provides bots from buying everything, because it's not good for the industry. There should be more people playing PlayStation 5. It's already expensive. It's not expensive for what you're getting because it's the first time that a console can go full on ray tracing with graphics. So for $700 with a game and a remote and everything and a decent console, it's absolutely worth it for what you're getting. Now,
of course,
for what you're gonna get, I should say, for what you're getting right now, it's not. I don't believe that buying a PlayStation 5 right now is worth it because there's no fucking game.
Yeah.
Same for Xbox. Early adopters is a thing. Early adopters get fucked over by scalper. I don't feel bad. I always buy a few months after, but now we're getting a problem because, like you said, it's happening over and over again.
Right.
They should fix this, but the thing is, they're not concerned because all they want to do is sell the thing. They're not making money on buybacks or if they sell everything, they probably actually, you know what? That could be a good example. Back then, when I was working at my father's shop, electronic for cars, we would sell car radios for a lower price than would cost us. All right.
Okay.
So we would lose money selling you a Kenwood radio car or whatever it was. But at the end of the year, if we sold a certain amount, we get a kickback from Kenwood directly. Okay. So there's those things could be happening in the back. I don't know. This is an idea that came out of my head. And that's why usually I have a partner called Frank that goes, shut the fuck up. This doesn't make sense. But there's a bunch of things we don't know. And it's all about selling and making the money. They don't care where the product goes. They should care. But now it's more of a human thing. It's insulting because Sony should either put sanction or just, you know what, you shut the bed. We're gonna give the console to someone else and he's gonna sell them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it should absolutely be as I buy. I don't know. I don't have an idea. I don't have a solution, but there's way smarter people out there that could make this happen. And I'm personally frustrated that scalper are making money over something that's not even worth buying right now. It's
Yeah.
not. If you bought it, Frank bought it. My partner bought it. He bought it on the internet. He's got a bot that would look with somewhere if there was free. But he was able to buy it for the same price. He didn't buy it from a scalper.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, he's playing all the same fucking game I'm playing with my PS4.
Yeah.
And he's waiting because he wants to buy himself a PC to go play Cyberpunk later.
Yeah.
So right now, it's not worth it, and everybody's losing except the scalper. So what do I think about this? It's like Sony needs to make Sony and Microsoft needs to make something happen about this and put less the money business side on it, because they're gonna make money anyway. Microsoft is not a company that needs
money
Xbox to live, and
Sony
is
doesn't.
not a company that needs PlayStation to live.
No.
So do the right thing, but at the end of the day, businessmen don't
business. That's it. It's a business. Yeah. I mean, listen, it got to the point for me. Like I went through 3 different buying cycles to try to get it, and I had it in my cart twice, and then I went back and it removed it. And then what I found out was what these sites were doing were they were listing. So let's say you have 1 unit PS5. They'd list that unit as a PS5 by itself. They'd also then list the unit as a bundle with something else. Okay. The bundle would overtake the PS5 by its lonesome. So even though I have it in my cart saying that this is what it is, it then gets shifted because someone else bought it with a bundle. So then they get prioritized. It gets removed from my cart, put into their cart. They
because the other person was going to spend more money than you.
Exactly. So they get it before I do. So
I'm going to just say out there, I wasn't aware of all the scheme behind it, and I'm learning as we speak, and that's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, that's it. So that's
capitalism.
That's it. So that's the problem. And again, I'm not going to I'm not really complaining, but it's just frustrating because in something that is so community driven, something that is so about just getting the consoles to the house, I don't know how you don't for me, if you look at the shoe market, that should be your example of how internet goes wrong. If you look at when Supreme releases something, if you look at when Nike releases something, when you look at anything that is limited edition that gets released on the internet and you look what happens, I don't know how these companies don't look at this and say, we've got to figure a way to combat this so that we guarantee that our consoles get into people's houses and they start spending money. Because now is the time.
There's a bunch of PlayStation not being hooked up right now, not getting money back.
I went on Kijiji last night just for fun.
Okay.
This guy has a picture of 15 consoles stacked on top of each other. I'm like, 50, so you took out a credit card with I don't know what your fucking balance is, literally just went online, bought the bot, got whatever, bought as many consoles as you could get, got them shipped to your house, and now they're just literally sitting in your spot. And my girlfriend's like, well, it's fine, man. It's they're going to sit there forever, and eventually people are going to be able to get it. And then they're just
buy them to sell them at a lower price. And at the end of the day, he's probably going to have to sell them for a deal, because we should, as a community, but it's not going to happen.
I know.
We should all buy from Sony directly, even though it's a big company.
And that's what I said. I was like, it may sound stupid, and maybe I'm being way too idealistic, but
we both are.
If I was Sony and I saw that happen, I would have been like, okay, you know what? No more shipments. We're done. That's it. What we're going to do is the next 3 to 4 months, we are only shipping through Sony Direct. That's it. Go on your thing. And I even said, I'm like, why can't it just be a wait list? You go, you sign up, you go into a cache, you go into a queue, you wait. They take a certain amount of money. So whatever it is, $150, $200, you pay your half. Yeah. You have, once you get the email that notifies you, says, hey, it's your turn to buy a PS5. You have 24 hours to complete the sale, or we move on to the next person.
Seriously, if someone from Sony is listening, fucking do this. Oh, I think I lost you, buddy. Hey.
There. Whoa, sorry. Yeah, I had a little delay there. That was weird. Okay. Okay.
And has you what you just said?
It's like said, "Hey, shut him up!
Yeah,
shut him up! Stop it!
Like, they know too much.
Don't tell him."
But
yeah,
it's a great idea. And I don't know. There's probably someone way smarter than me that would go, "This is why we're not doing this," and we go,
sure.
Okay. But I think it'd be a brilliant idea if Sony would go, "You know what? Here's it's gonna go. Everybody just you're gonna send us the money right away. They'll probably be able to sell it for a lower price and or include shipping. I don't know, but it's definitely doable. And it's just I'm gonna say something, but I'm not sure it's true. But a bit of like, and I'm not as much as I'm a graphic designer and I have a bunch of Apple product because of an old cultural thinking of design, but it's useless right now. I can do everything I do on a PC probably for less money. But Apple does this one thing good. They have their Apple freaking store, and you can buy your stuff there, and it's very limited outside, and it's the price is the same everywhere. They control this. They do it in a way that maybe makes it's run more to their advantage. If Sony start doing this, maybe the PlayStation would be more expensive. I don't know, since they have a monopoly. Can you say that?
A monopoly, yeah.
Yeah, they control everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It could go sideways, but I'm 100% agree with you that it should be controlled by fully Sony. And like, I love the idea of a waitlist. It's fair. You get the same amount of money. You actually would get more money right away. If I'm going to buy a $700 console, I don't mind giving you $200 to reserve it.
No, that's it.
And you know what? As an adult, I don't give a shit if I don't have it on the 21st. If it's out on this date, but I have a week later or 2 weeks later, I know in mine it's out there. It's going to get there.
That's it.
But
that's it.
On the other side, you're not losing anything. You shouldn't buy I'm going to buy it, the PlayStation 5. I'd like to buy it in March, probably this summer, because every time I plan something, it's 3 months after. But I think it's the best way to go, because the scalper is going to have to either fucking sell it for
cost or sell it for less.
And it's bad and whoever bought a $1,200 PlayStation, like, I feel for you. Like, if it wasn't a COVID environment, I'd hug you, because that's kind of sad. And not sad. I'm not saying you're sad or your situation is shit, but it is. But it's a shame that for someone that want to play games that aren't even out yet, that just want to have their console, they have to go through this. But some people have money and they don't give a shit. But
for sure. I mean, yeah,
I feel it's a move Microsoft will do, because we wanted to talk about console. I feel Microsoft is coming with a different idea of what gaming should be, and it's more community oriented.
Yeah.
The fact that they bought for $7 billion, not Behavior, Bethesda, and actually it's a bigger studio that owns Bethesda, and now it's done. Doom guy probably won't be on PlayStation anymore. Well, Master Chief never will be, and all those other things that they bought, Skyrim and everything. I feel like there's a possibility here that Xbox, because if I didn't have a PC, I would consider Xbox, but for this generation, it's a stronger machine. And with the way they're handling things, Microsoft lately, and how they try to go a certain way, I feel like it's going to be healthy for the community, and it's going to be healthy for the whole gaming industry. PlayStation is going to have to come up with stuff to reach a certain level. Now, there's two ways this thing is going to go. I feel like having a bigger machine is very American and very Microsoft. It's like, look at this. This has a V12 engine. You put a lot of gasoline in, it goes fast.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other side, you have the Japanese are developing a much more engineered console, maybe less stronger, but performance are the same because it's more developed. That's just an idea like this. But I feel like Xbox is getting somewhere, and this is why I went PC. And I love their idea of the Game Pass, where, you know what, I'm a big fan of Master Chief. I have the Halo art building world concept art for book. I got it for Christmas. I love these things. I love their designs, and I feel like I still want to play. I have the Master Chief collection on my PC, which is buggy as fuck, and I'm very mad at it. But this is a conversation for another time. I feel like Microsoft is trying to do a better job for the community, not necessarily gaming wise. The games are still good and everything, but I feel like they're trying to make something more affordable. I'm not sure that the X and the S series is a good thing, but I see an idea there. I see that you can buy a console that's going to run the same games with a little lower resolution. They're not going to go 60 frames per second on a 4K screen. Plus, a lot of people don't have 4K screen. It's coming along. It's going to get there. But you see, they're already giving choices, and they're thinking like, this is the amount of money if you want, you're going to get this, and this is the amount of money you're going to get if you're going to get this. And giving people the choice is and it's going to make people realize that they can either just play games or they can have performance. And there's people that just want to play games for games. I'm going to give you the best example out there. Nintendo were never on top of graphics.
They're the greatest.
All about
they know, you know what? They know their market. They know the people who play it.
Yeah.
They know how to adhere to it. And even they said like they only release a certain amount of games and then they release a new console, whatever. But it's like Nintendo always stays in its own lane, and they never get like they're not openly in competition with the other consoles. It's always like they've put themselves in a position where it's like you have a PlayStation and a Switch. Yep. You have an Xbox and a Switch. Yep. They're the and. So it's like they're quietly making a crap ton of money because all those other, like, you're always, well, am I going to go Xbox or PlayStation? Because they're in the war. But they're just kind of sitting there like, well, yeah, but, you know, when you get bored of playing that, come and play Smash Bros. Come play Zelda. Come play, you know, Mario. Like, you know, everyone loves to play Mario. We
have a segment on the podcast where we try to find deals, all right? Nintendo never makes fucking deals. Never. They don't. They're like, this is what you get.
Yeah.
And they have high quality standards, which Microsoft and PlayStation, Sony has too. But their culture is very different. And I feel Microsoft. I say it. This is not a fact. Is a pure opinion. But I feel Microsoft is trying to be this on the American way. They've been at it since 2001. Because Halo was supposed to be an Apple game, but it fell short. Now the Microsoft bought it, and it was a big thing that came out with the first Xbox. But they've been at it for 20 years now, 19, because it came out in 2001, I think. I'm not sure. And I feel like they're trying something new. And at the end of the day, I feel like they want to be, in French we say à cheval sur la ligne. They want to be on the fence. They want to be a bit like Nintendo, and they want to be a bit like PlayStation, but they don't mind if PlayStation do their thing on their side. They're too big. They have this, it's a big thing not needing money and not care about PlayStation. Since they're starting buying new studios, and hopefully they're going to push them in the right direction instead of just eating them up and make shitty games. But if things goes out good, I think Xbox is going to be more relevant, but I also think that it's eventually the consoles are gonna die. They're gonna start selling computers that do everything.
Well, I mean, they're getting there, right? Like, even if you look at like what your console was,
streaming games,
PS3. Like, would you look at the PS3 to the PS4? Look at the differentiation. Like, PS3 was what? Just a console. You put your game in, it registered, it went. PS4 has an operating system. It's got applications. It's got all these different things. It's got community. Like, you know what I mean? It's a mini computer. It's only going to get more in that realm of, like you said, like where they are going to start combining their services. So it's like, you know, you're not just going to buy a PS5. You're going to buy a Sony Bravia TV that has the PS5, that has the PlayStation built into it. You know, like in my mind, everything's going to go into like what Google did with Stadia. It's not going to be.
They're not doing it well. but they have the idea already.
Yeah, but they just want to be Google always just wants to be the first. They don't want to do things perfectly. They just want to be the one who establishes this can be done. We're going to do it. We've got more money than anybody knows what to do with. We will figure this thing out. That's it. You know what I mean? So like when everyone's got like cybernetic optics in their eyes and we're like, oh, I'm just going to plug into Stadia through my hardware and I'm just going to lay back in a chair and just fucking start playing video games. You know what I mean? I don't need to walk to a console
right now.
That's it. I don't need to walk into a console. I'm just going to sit and chill and play it over my.
Here's what's happening right now. That's been happening for a few years, and it's pretty much gonna, I feel, guide the gaming process in the future. Right now, Mel Studio in Montreal.
Yeah,
they do like cinema. They're huge studios. They also make a lot of special effects.
Yep.
What they do is they run virtual machine. So basically, is I'm rendering this huge Endgame Marvel Endgame sequence, which takes hours and hours, but I'm streaming it on a computer from Google that it's super powerful. So it's faster, but I'm doing it over a huge internet connection. So I'm basically streaming my machine, their virtual machine right now. And this is what they're doing. So instead of buying hardware and having to update it and change it every year, they pay a big amount of money to have it, a bit like Netflix. I pay them a big amount of money and they make sure I have their stuff in there. They change it a bit in a while, but it's always up to date. Eventually I get to pay a bit more to get a 4K resolution. And this is where it's going. Eventually it's just going to be internet, and it's all about going to be able to have access to a remote and a screen. And then the internet's going to do the rest. And then it's going to be packaged. It's going to be, listen, you get the PlayStation package, you got to pay this amount of money per month. And this is where it all crosses aside. Like, for example, for FIFA, you're not going to pay the game anymore. You're just going to pay, and it's going to be
it's just going to be available to you. It's not going to be something that you buy.
This is where we're going. I mean, and Netflix is just a big example. They're already doing it in the cinema industry where it's so expensive. I remember one of my machine they bought for when I used to work for I was the creative art director for a big informatic computer company that works in banks.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do all their design and everything. And I for fun, I said, well, my machine is pretty slow. I'd like to have a bigger one. And it ended up costing me, and it's a big Apple thing we bought. It ended up costing like close to $20,000. The computer, the screen, all this stuff and everything, and SSD. And this is a lot of money. Why don't you put this money on a monthly basis and you get always the top of the branch? What if there was no problem with Cyberpunk 77 because we all had access to the best fucking machine because
we're playing it over Google
better now. This is where it's going, and there's not going to be any PC master race console race. It's just going to be I buy from this company, I pay them a fee per month, and I have access to all their stuff. And eventually, who knows? Maybe I'm just saying that out loud, but it's going to be Stadia or Microsoft. It's going to be the same fucking thing that you pay. It's going to be like TV. You're going to buy bundles and everything to access the games. You're never really going to own them. It's going to be like virtually somewhere.
It's all virtual. Yeah. It's I mean, it's the same thing right now with the PS5 console. It's like you can buy the hard disk version or the digital. I just want the digital because I haven't bought an actual hard disk game in, I don't know how long. Cause for me, it doesn't, there's no benefit to having it. Like the thing is, if my disc breaks,
I love olding artwork.
That's it. Like I remember how many copies of Madden I used to burn through, like just by leaving Madden on for hours. Like I used to just leave Madden running on and I just come back to it and then start playing it again. I burned through like 3 or 4 copies of Madden all the time, and then I'd have to go buy a new copy. And then I was like, wait, if I just buy it digitally, then
good.
It's always there, and I never have to worry. And then I never bought a hard disk copy of a game ever again because there was just no point.
And then you get companies like Samsung that start doing like drivers that you can just upload your stuff and carry on to the next person, or just show up with your idea somewhere. So the console war right now is a thing. I think both are interesting, but right now both of them have nothing to offer us right now to make a decision. But eventually, the best way to do things right now is own a PC and a PlayStation, I believe, because PC can do both with the Xbox Pass.
Yeah,
it would be stupid. But if you want, but the thing is, a PC is a thing that you love, that you take care of it, and you upload, and That's not what a PlayStation or a console is. That's the beauty of it. It's a plug and play system where I don't have to worry about it, and it'll upload itself by itself. It does everything on its own. You don't have to worry about it, and I understand people that goes for that.
Yeah.
I went PC because it offers me a lot of things like this camera I'm using right now. I couldn't use it on a Mac, and Mac are not designed to play games. A few games are designed to be able to play on Mac. So
right,
it's all about choices of what you want and what's coming up, and be able to know what's coming up. I don't know what Microsoft's going to do with my one of my best favorite all-time AP Doom. I don't know what they're going to do. It's going to be better. It's going to be worse. I personally hated what they did with the new one. I really enjoyed the 2016 version.
Oh, you didn't like the new one?
I didn't like it, but it's not a bad game. If you want to go there, I can go there, but it's personal to me. What they did in 2016, they kept it with a story a bit. There was a bit of mysterious stuff around the whole thing going. It was
so you didn't like how they put lore in the game and all that kind of stuff.
Even though it's ridiculous lore, it's hell. It doesn't have to be lore. Mm-hmm. And they went full berserker on the other side of arcade, on the other side, which is excellent. They were able to renew themselves, but I felt that the lore fell short for me. It's not a bad game. It's a great game. It's hard. It's chess with a chainsaw, because it sounds stupid what I'm saying, but it's complicated.
No, it looks like stuff. Yeah, it looks like you got to manage a lot. But I don't know. I didn't play it, but I did watch a couple of videos. Like I follow My Name Is Bife, so he does usually Destiny lore, and then he started doing Doom lore, and I was like, oh shoot, there's lore in the game now. I was like, wow. I was like, and then so I would listen to it, and I was like, okay, the story's pretty good. Like story plays out pretty well.
If you allow yourself to go, we started to gather energy from hell to power our houses. If you can go over this little barrier, and everything is open there, like they don't hide behind stuff. It's just, this is the reason why we're doing this, and this is why you're killing demons. Have fun. And I salute what they did with that, because it was hard to do something that's the same as 2016 and also new. They're amazing at this. They also fucked over Mike Gordon, the guy who did the music, which kind of makes me mad. They resample his stuff, and he officially said he's not going to do any Doom music ever. And he's like 40% of the experience. That guy, you should. I'll send you a link of this guy talking about how he made the music for the first one, and it's fucking amazing. He built a instrument just for that. It's really cool. I feel like they made stupid decision, but then again, I don't know what Microsoft's going to do with this. They have they have Bethesda. I don't know what they're going to do, and I feel like Microsoft is probably going to do a good thing with it. They're going to let them do their thing and just going to give them money. Like, here, put the magic up first.
Okay.
I hope it's what's going to happen. Just like EA when they bought Respawn, they stand there, they stood their ground, they still make good games that are not shitty or forcing you to buy stuff.
Right.
But they have to stand, they stand their ground, and I hope Microsoft's going to be able to do that for them. And I know we're off the console war.
No, we touched on it. We're good. We touched on it. We talked about it. It's fine.
Yeah, so that's my take on it. Right now, don't buy any console yet. And I'm not even talking about the fact that, the first console, first generation, they have problems and everything. I had first generation console on for PlayStation 3 and 4. Never had a problem with them. Yes, they did sound like a fucking jet plane at the end, but they always worked fine.
Yeah.
It's not even the point. The point is that they have nothing to offer you right now. All my friends who have PS5 right now are not playing. They either not playing Cyberpunk because they don't want to buy a $90 product that's not going to work properly to them, which is fine. Or they're playing games from the older generation. You're just an early adopter at this point. And right now, if you're not getting the real price from on the internet, you're paying from a scalper. I feel it's a bit stupid if you're doing this for what you're getting. Or you're just, now I have my console, I can have all the games I want when they come out, fine. But they're all we're at this part where the games that are coming out are designed for both generation, and they're flawed in their way. Cyberpunk is an extreme example of it. Valhalla is probably nicer on PlayStation 5 and Xbox series, but it's the same game that we're playing. And if you're able to just let it go for a second, you can play it on your console right now and wait when either the price is more affordable or when there's actually games for you out there. Because, you know, there's bugs, whatever bug snacks that's out there, which I don't give a shit about. But if you're into that, go buy the game. But I don't think it's worth buying a new console to get that type of game.
Right. Yeah,
you know
I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
Madden, it's still Madden. If you're playing with the only thing you're gonna have to get used to it is your remote because it's fairly bigger.
Yeah, it's more of an Xbox remote than it is a PS5 remote, which I'm a little worried about because I've always loved the PS5 remote. I always thought it was the best remote out there because it was like compacted, fit well, you could do stuff with it.
And there's no under trigger, which I'm really disappointed. They sold that to us. There's the same amount of trigger. I wanted those under triggers for Apex to get.
Well, yeah, because like I have mine, but I bought the little thing on the back that actually it was complete. Well, I mean, listen, when you play PvP, it's like to have that like secondary little button at the back, like if I'm running over to someone and I've got the revive like on that thing, and as opposed to trying to move my thumb off of it, like I'm just holding it with my back finger and just like, okay, there you go, and I'm still firing at somebody. I mean, but again, that's like advanced stuff, you know what I mean? That's like when you spend way too much time playing PvP games, you get into that kind of like.
Well, I changed my whole setup for Apex because there's some things I had to take my thumb off, and where we're talking competition and where we want to be efficient, it's normal. That thing I see people play with the claw, which amazed me, and it's why would you do that? But if it works, it works.
That's it.
So yeah. No, I'm disappointed in some of the stuff, but it's nothing that would make me go, I'm not buying PlayStation. Right now, I'm not buying because they have nothing to offer.
That's fair.
It's a waiting game right now, to be honest.
All right, dude. Well, this has been a great talk. This was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Went for an hour 46. I think that's the longest one I've ever done. That's awesome.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's good. That's good. That's good. It's the longest we'll be able to talk about some. Let them know where they can watch your podcast, where they can find you on where they can find you on social media.
The podcast is called Drop Don't Weep. It's available on Facebook. You can find us on Facebook and Twitch. Whether both we're live on Wednesday. We're taking a break right now, but we're gonna start back early January. We're live on Wednesdays at 8:30 at night. It lasts about 40 to an hour. 40 minutes an hour. We usually go through the new games that are coming up. We're going through gaming news and also cheap deals that are out. And then we have a different subject every week. And we're very serious about our stuff, but also at the same time, I say a bunch of stupid things in French. You're more than welcome to join. The whole goal of our thing is to talk to people like us that don't necessarily have time because of their job to go through all the gaming content. We filter it a bit. We put it out there. You take it. You don't like it. You put it back. It doesn't matter. And that's pretty much it. That's what I do on Wednesdays. Every time of the week, we got 30 episodes out. We took breaks in there, and we're trying to do another 30 episodes for the next year. Hopefully everything goes well. And I hope to see you guys out there. And Blake, thank you. It was a lot of fun to talk about this. And I wish if you ever want me back in there to talk about stuff, I'll
definitely have you back. Don't worry. Every time there's something to talk about, I'll be going out to you for sure. 100%.
Thank you.
You should bring your buddy next time.
Yeah, we'll bring it for sure.
Yeah. All right, buddy. I very much appreciate you. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Happy holidays. And we will see you on the next one.
Bye.